Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Chad.
This week we're covering David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
I can feel you pulling things around in there.
It's a brand new organ. Never before seen. We've all felt that the body was empty. Empty of meaning. And we've wanted to confirm that, so that we could fill it with meaning.
The world is a much more dangerous place now that pain has all but disappeared.
Surgery is sex, isn't it?
Is it?
You know it is. Surgery is the new sex.
I don't like what's happening with the body. In particular, what's happening with my body. Which is why I keep cutting it up. What do you think they'd find inside it?
Outer space.
Whoops. Sorry.
Let us not be afraid to map the chaos inside. Let us create a map that will guide us into the heart of darkness.
So this is the second attempt of Crimes of the Future. He technically used this same title for a short that he did in the 70s. And that short was just a voiceover and had no dialogue. It was like an hour long. And it did have it's similar, but it's not the same. So it's not a prequel, it's not a sequel. It's kind of like in the same, where there was an institute called the House of Skins.
Of course there was.
Where I don't even know where to begin with this, but we're gonna start with, this is his second envisioning or whatever expansion of Crimes of the Future.
And this is like his fifth time that he's worked with Viggo Mortensen, who apparently they're just BFFs now. It also has Kristen Stewart in it, which is kind of a strange one for her.
It is, but when you watch her performance, it's just the same way she acts in every other movie, but times 500. Because she has this weird thing that she's unsure, and she does this weird, she has these weird mannerisms, and she's like, oh. It's like that the whole movie, but times 500, which I'm like, this was perfect. Was she just leading up the same acting she's done in all her previous movies? Was it just leading up to this one moment where it's actually appropriate?
May have been. Because I think her reaction is the correct reaction to most of the situations in this movie.
Yeah.
We also have Lea Seydoux as Viggo Mortensen's performance art partner / occasional lover /
surgeon trauma surgeon.
Yeah, it's a very interesting relationship they have.
She wears many hats.
Yes.
Now,
and this is the 18th time he's worked with composer Howard Shore, going all the way back to The Brood. Those two have worked together, so I gotta say they must be buddies too.
Wow, The Brood? That's intense.
All the way back that far. The Brood was 78 or 79, so they've been. I think he's done all of his movies except for The Dead Zone, which is weird that he looked at it and went, "No, I'll skip this one."
Now, I want to read a quote that he did recently with Variety in an interview that they had. And he stated, "I think we are evolving, not devolving. I think our nervous systems are completely different from human beings 100 years ago. I think the use of screens, the use of digital technology has actually altered our nervous systems. So, I mean, but mind you, he had kind of these ideas back in the 70s.
Yeah, even if you look at stuff like Videodrome, the TVs were changing people and
Yes.
were freaking out by it. So he's had this
existence.
idea. Yeah.
Also,
Video games were getting to be... There's always something changing people into something new in Cronenberg's mind.
video games and like virtual reality, which
Yeah.
that from then and now has changed dramatically with the whole like VR thing. You know,
Yeah, it was... They thought at the time it was going to be way bigger than what it is. It still hasn't quite taken off the way everybody thought it would.
No, but I think we're on the way there. I don't want to be there. No, that freaks me out. But there's definitely like the fear of the impact that technological advancement has on the human body.
Yeah.
Definitely is his like shtick for certain films of his.
Yeah.
Because he mostly does body horror, but I'm like technology and the body.
Yeah, even The Fly and stuff is the same kind of thing. It's technology freaked out the body and caused problems.
But that's not his film, so that's why I'm not going to credit that, because technically that's a remake.
That's true, but even the remake was a body horror thing.
It is, and he definitely
was a body horror.
He definitely. I mean, that's like the thing. It's a remake where it's like surpasses the original and makes the original even better, because it's like, how could you take it to the next level? And they both films do, in their own regards. But so
so the movie takes place in, like most of this stuff, you know, it doesn't say when it is. It's just in the near future.
It's in the future, and there's this syndrome, accelerated evolution syndrome, that's evolving people and growing new organs. Like for some people, they're growing new organs, and this syndrome is a reaction to an increasingly synthetic world following like climate catastrophe and like pollution. So, and literally where we're at right now.
And they say that everyone's pain threshold has increased to where that like you can just do surgery on your desk and it's not a problem. There's no infection anymore. They're like, no one bothers to wash their hands because you're not going to get infected by anything. So disease and pain are kind of a thing of the past, which is odd. Like, they don't really explain how that happened, but it just kind of started.
Yeah, and it's not a sexy future. It's not like, oh yeah, it's great, there's diseases, we're disease free, and you know, whatever. There's people in the streets doing like surgical removal of these organs and other weird shit. Everyone looks terrible.
This looks like the part of Blade Runner where it's not raining. This is where this is happening. It's happening in the city next to the one for Blade Runner, where instead of it raining all the time, it's just dry and drab all the time.
It's so drab.
It looks like it's going to kind of rain, but it never does.
It's not a sexy future. The people are not sexy. Everyone it looks terrible. I don't want to live in this future. They're living I think one person actually lived in a house, which is right off in the beginning. She lived right in a house like by the ocean, and it gave me so many feels like Gattaca. I got like Gattaca feels from that. I think it's because of the whole ocean thing and the house by the ocean, and then the kid being like different.
Yeah. Yeah, you see the kid at the beginning who's like down by the water, and the woman says, "Hey, don't eat anything you find down there." And you're like, okay, ooh, that's weird. Why would he be eating like raw fish out of the ocean? Then you see him come upstairs, go into the bathroom, and just brush his teeth like he would, and then just, eat the trash can.
I thought, this poor kid has pica. Like, okay, we're in a world where children have pica. I mean, people have pica now in real life. Children have it.
Just the extreme version of it now.
I mean, have you ever seen those shows? There's like a lady out there eating like cotton balls. I feel like that's pretty extreme. But yes, he just picks up the garbage can and just starts chewing down on it.
Just like a giant rat. He's just munching away, and he's got this weird, he's kind of foaming at the mouth a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that, you realize later that's like an enzyme to help him dissolve the stuff so he can eat it better.
And we don't revisit this until middle to ending of the movie, this whole thing with this kid, because at first I'm like, what the hell's going on with this this woman and this kid, what's this about? And the scenes, every scene in the film is just so it's just so, I don't know. There's some
whole
sadness to it.
Yeah, no one's happy in this movie. No one got up this morning and said, I live in a world without disease and pain. I'm happy to be here. No, everyone woke up and was like, ugh, again with this shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, everyone's miserable.
So we're not going to go, like, for the whole movie. We'll just talk about, like, what our favorite is because, you know, we want people to go see it. But there's the two people, which is Viggo Mortensen and Léa Seydoux.
Yeah.
Saul Tenser and Caprice. They're performance artists.
And their art consists of, he lays on this typical Cronenbergian looking thing.
Which is an autopsy table.
Yeah.
Back in the day it was used.
The Sark autopsy table. Which,
yes.
Okay. Are they autopsying the Fly and Aliens? That's the only people that should be autopsied on this table. And he lays on this table, and then she slices him open with it and removes his organs while he seems to really be getting off on it, as is everyone else that's watching it in the crowd. And then she also has to, like, put a special tattoo on all the organs that are removed so that they know who it was removed from. Because the government, of course, is involved in this and is monitoring all this kind of stuff because they're worried about the new people that get these organs. Because it's not everybody apparently doesn't get infection and everyone doesn't feel pain anymore, but not everyone is growing these new organs. It's kind of like a certain subset of people that start growing the new organs.
Some people are evolving and some are.
Some faster than others.
And some others aren't.
Yeah.
And he's one of those. This also had very noir elements, I feel. It wasn't because it was the whole movie was dark and he was literally walking around like fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi, like
in his black robe with his face covered half the time.
Yeah.
I also love when I found out that the reason he's like squatted down through half the movie giving all these speeches is because he was injured and couldn't stand up for more than a couple of minutes at a time. So they were just like, all right, put on the robe and squat down. It'll look even creepier. And they're right, it did. When he's like creeping in the shadows and he's all black robe talking about, you know, the new organs and everything. This is all back to the new flesh again, you know.
Yeah. Also, it gave me hardware vibes.
Yeah,
I always think about hardware.
It could have been that movie too. The whole thing is just, like I said, it looks like it takes place in the town next to Blade Runner. And even though it's in the future, you really don't see anyone using any kind of technology like we have now. You see people with cameras taking pictures of during the event, but they're a mix of like new looking cameras and older looking cameras. Kind of like, it reminded me of that show Max Headroom, where they were using like all this advanced video technology, but then when they got back to their office, it was like old-timey typewriter keyboards hooked into the computers. It was a weird mix of like old and new technology, like everything's just kind of scrounged together.
Caprice had a box of like rings that were like you could videotape, or you can. There's no tape in there, but you can tape, or video. Or you want to
record.
You can record. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. You can record different things, and she uses those rings to record, which I thought was pretty cool. Like I was like, I need one of those recording rings.
And then they have the like weird things that they do the surgery with. Of course, you're in like on like the Sark table that's doing the autopsy, and it's straight out of like, it looks like they cut open the egg from one of the aliens and just made it bigger, and then hooked a bunch of like existence type tentacles to it and set you down inside it to do the surgery.
All the machines in this, there's like a breakfast chair, there's an autopsy. I'm like, why do you need a breakfast chair that looked like a spine? It looked like, now that I'm thinking about it, it was like if Giger Giger and what's her face, Lydia's mom from Beetlejuice, if they came together
and made like a chair.
That's what the chair would look like. It had those total vibes.
And the whole time he's in the chair, it's not like he just sits in it. He sits in it and the chair is like rocking him from side to side, back and forth, and helping him lift the spoon to his mouth.
Yeah, supposedly it helps you digest better and it gets the food to the certain organs or whatever. I don't know. It was fucking weird.
His bed, too, was supposed to be, like, his bed was a weird egg-looking thing with tentacles hooked to it. And they were like, oh, the bed will help you and it will adjust to you and help you with your discomfort in the night. You're like,
no,
okay.
Bitch, I just want to sleep on a regular bed. But then there were no regular beds because Caprice was sleeping on a fucking slab of rock. Like, they live in a cave. Like, no one has, like, a normal house. It was let me just tell you, the movie overall, it was nothing new per se for Cronenberg. It didn't really do anything. It was just a movie just to have a movie.
If you had called it Cronenberg the movie, it would have been fine.
Exactly.
I'd have been like, oh, now I know what we're in for.
This is a summation of like all my other movies and, you know, what I think about where we're headed and how technology can or has, you know, made humans evolve in some kind of way, or maybe that's where we're going to get to. Like, I don't want to give away, but one thing in the movie, the main thing in the movie is like, of course, humans would evolve to be able to do this certain thing because of how polluted and like how polluted the world is. And we have to adjust to that pollution. And that was the fear of the people that that weren't growing these organs. They fear that this new race, this new evolution of man or creature, as they called several times in the film.
Yeah, because they said once you get to a certain point, you're not going to be human.
You're not human anymore, and that was the fear. It was the fear of not knowing, you know, who or what you're
evolving
around
into. Yeah,
yeah, and
because they still look human on the outside for now. But with this stuff too, like when no one feels pain, they show people going in and just like, oh, I'm just going to have my face like sliced open and have, you know, just pieces of it visible, or I'm going to have weird things implanted in my forehead, and just that's fine because everybody does that.
Also, I want to throw out there, this is what I got from the movie while I was watching it. There was some scenes where there was the old sex, as Viggo, the kissing, by the way, was the old sex.
Yeah, he said, I'm not very good at the old sex.
No wonder the world is all fucked up. No one's fucking. Start fucking again. Why are we going?
Because
no,
like
they're
Kristen
not.
Stewart said, surgery is the new sex.
No, but that's not that. Yeah, surgery. Exactly. That's the issue. Surgery is the new sex. No one is fucking anymore. They're just going. They're all become cutters. Everyone's a cutter. Everyone is just taking organs out of their body and like putting their hands in holes that are in their body and
their
like
mouths in holes that are just in your body.
Yeah, and like moving.
Not the normal holes you use.
Exactly.
Ones.
You're like moving the organs around, and that's like, oh yeah, you really got me going. Like, there's no dick, vagina involved. No one's sucking any like appendages. I don't know. It just.
Oh, there was appendages, but just not the normal kind.
No one. Look, just have sex, guys. I think this is. I feel sad if Cronenberg's future world, there's no sex. Like, there was only sex one time, obviously, which we don't see, but, you know, the kid had to come from somewhere.
Some people did have a kid somewhere, so.
Yeah, there was a kid somewhere. Well, those people, one of them wasn't a freak, per se, but her mental stability really depended on what really was the result of what happened to her. Yeah. So I can't even blame her for that. But she was having sex with a guy. You know, she wasn't cutting herself up. And like, even there's a scene where Caprice and Viggo Mortensen are intimate. Yeah, their intimate thing was like, let's get booty ass naked into this weird egg fucking machine and egg machine, and let's lay there while the machine just slices us up. That's sexy. Like, no, that's not sexy. That's, I don't even, no. I felt like I should have been wearing a big condom, like, or some kind of like hazmat suit watching the film, because there's just blood and organs flying all over the place. Thank God this movie wasn't a 3D movie, because that would have been much.
That's a weird thing, though. There wasn't a lot of blood in it, so I wonder if there's a version where there's a lot of blood, because I feel like, you know, they're slicing Viggo Mortensen open, like, and ripping organs out, but there's no, like...
I disagree. There was a shit ton of blood. The thing is, for you, your thing of gore is, there's no fucking, like, old school gore, like, shh, like, there's, like, spraying everywhere.
You didn't see, like, the blood in his body. His organs were all pretty clean.
They were red, but I'm mostly talking about like the scenes where people are getting sliced open. There's blood trickling down. They're cut up like all over their face and body. There's blood trickling in different parts of their body.
All these people just get together and like, oh, we're gonna get together and see how she cuts her face up today. This is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that was very interesting, but it goes back to that in one way, shape, or another, we're all warriors, and we all get off on watching something, and that's the extension of like iPhones and like that technology. Like, you get off on just recording, on watching someone experience something. Well, that was the thing too.
The name of the company that did everything in this was iForm.
Yeah, iForm.
I feel like that was
wink, wink.
That was kind of on the nose there. Like, get it? iForm phone.
So yeah, there's a mystery. It is very noir-esque. The coloring, they didn't do the whole thing with the black and the white and like the traditional, but the style, like you said, Blade Runner-esque look. You know, there's a mystery to be had. There's involved. There's some secret agents.
There's double crossing going on.
Yeah.
People are working with the cops. People are not working with the cops. There's murders. And there's some very, like, these are the strangest tech people that have ever come to work on anything. Like, anytime, like when these two women show up at your house, don't let them in because they're not here to work on your computer. They're here to do strange things.
Even if they come ass booty ass naked,
which
do not
they
let
did
them
at
in.
least one point.
Yes, they did. They did.
And I feel like they cut something from that scene because I feel like that Caprice, when she turned around and the two tech people that were there to work on the autopsy machine were just naked laying on it, and she was like, "Oh, you guys!"
I'm gonna tell you right now, nothing sexual happened. She probably just slit their clits off or something, or did some weird shit. Like she just cut them up with the machine, and even the machine's hands look very alienonic. Like, no, I don't want to live in this world. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like the little Giger hands are doing everything. Yeah. It was like,
I'm gonna say I don't want to live in any world that Cronenberg has created. I'm out. Like, what is he thinking? When you watch a film by a director of this caliber, because he definitely, not only the directing but the screenwriting, like he's out there, dude. Like he has a whole, I can't even imagine what this man thinks of. It's like David Lynch. Like what kind of world are they fucking living in? You know?
Can you imagine the two of them like collaborating on something? It would just...
No, I don't want that. No.
What I love about Cronenberg is when you see him, like, he's on that Star Trek Discovery show playing like an investigator on it, and you see him on that, then you see him in real life, and you're like, oh, he's just wearing the same shit in real life that he wears on Star Trek. He's got the glasses, he's got the same suit. This is just how Cronenberg gets up out of bed in the morning and rolls. He's just... They walked into the Star Trek set one day, and they were like, hey, you want to be on here? You want a costume or something? No, I'm good.
So Saul Tenser, it's a Friday night, you know? What else is there to do? Let me put my black robe on. Let me put my whole thing. You can only see my eyes. Let me go into like this like cave club where there's like, you know, amazing music playing. And there's a performance artist that's doing a dance. It's a man. And, you know, before he does his dance, let me tell you, the best scene in the room for him was, let me crouch into the fucking shadows. I'm just kneeling down. Now we find out, obviously, he was doing the whole kneeling thing because he had that injury in real life. But he's kneeling down. In the movie. It does. It does work in the movie. It doesn't take away from the movie. Like, what the fuck is he doing? He's just a creeper in the corner, like, in his fucking black robe. Like, just in there by himself. Like, everyone is, like, normal, like, in the stands, all standing together. He's apart from everybody. Also, I think he has this, like, sensitivity to smells and stuff. So he doesn't really like to be around a lot of people, per se. So he's there. This dude, okay, he's getting his eyes and mouth, like, needled up, like, shut. And he has, like, ears all over him. This actor, okay, in fucking real life, his name is Kara Hollows. Kara Hollows, okay, the two designers, Alexandra Anger and Monica Pavaz, they took a mold of Cavalli's ear and they replicated it 40 times and applied it on this man's body. His eyes and lips were actually shut. Obviously they didn't put the needle through, but his eyes and ears are actually shut the whole time. So he's just like standing waiting to perform in real life. And he literally is just using the ears, his actual ears, to listen to the music. He cannot see, he cannot talk in real life. So, like, he took it to, like, the next level. Of course, he's like, I was happy to do it for Cronenberg. Because, of course, you gonna work with Cronenberg. If Cronenberg asks you to do some, whatever it is, you're like, yes, I am gonna do that. Because you're working with a fucking master. You know? It's an honor to work with whatever. And he endured it. He said it was painful. He said it was a painful experience. but he was happy to do it. And that's fucking crazy. Because when you watch that scene, I'm thinking like, nowadays it's like, oh, it's a CGI'd ears, like they're like whatever. No, this person's eyes and fucking lips are actually shut. And he has the applied, he has like 4 hours a day in the chair.
Jesus.
To have these ears applied on him. So it's definitely intense. The movie, I will never watch again. This is not a movie I'm going to watch like later. I'm going to revisit it like in a couple of years. I'm going to show it to my daughter. Like, oh, you got to see this movie. No, I'm not going to go out of my way to buy the movie. I watched it. This is one, though,
that would benefit a little bit from some captions at some point, because there was a couple of points I was like, what the hell are they saying?
Yes.
Because everybody is very quiet, and they're dancing around, and there's organs flying, and then the people are like, and you're like, what? Yeah, you need some captions through part of this.
Definitely. I mean, if you wanted to revisit it, you know, you can on your own. Don't get me involved. I already spent an hour and 47 minutes of my life watching this. And it's not that it was a terrible movie. It just, for me, it wasn't necessary. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, because it's like, I'm never gonna see the shit that I saw in this movie. Like, I like, that was like some, like, in some regard, obviously, like, non-Cronenberg. Other people, other directors, or other screenwriters may have had something similar, but nothing like this. This is like, Cronenberg, like we said to the beginning, times 100.
I feel like this could have been like a pretty good pilot for a show too, because they end this at a very like interesting spot. They're just kind of like, at some point it just ends, and you're not expecting it to end where it does.
You're just a voyeur in this week or however long it is, and these people's lives, and then it's over. You're not looking anymore. You go on with your life,
and you kind of want to know, like, okay, so what happened next?
Yeah,
and you know there's never going to be a sequel to it. So it's just
you just have to make the assumption of what's going to happen.
Yeah, you just have to go on your own. But it would be interesting to see. Like, I feel like this would be a good start for a TV show. Then the next season picks up with what's happened a little bit later. It would be interesting to see. But you know we're never going to get that. It's just going to be this is it.
I'm fine. I don't need it. I'm good. I don't need to see anything else. I'm good. It didn't give me nightmares. It's not scary. If you're a person that does not like body horror, I can watch it. It's not my favorite. I'm also not into gore. This movie wasn't gory per se.
It's gory in like a medical sense. Like
exactly.
You're watching. If you watch a surgery on the Learning Channel or something, it's gory like that.
But yeah, it's definitely something to watch one time. So I do recommend people watch it, just so you can.
It's unique.
See the vision of Cronenberg and what he thinks. The advancement of technology and the human body, like where we may be headed, where we could go based on the things that happen in real life with pollution and just all that stuff. It is very interesting, especially because he started writing this back in the day. Like, and I'm sure it's evolved within the last, like, 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah, close to over 40 years.
It's evolved, definitely, but he does have a very specific vision when it comes to how, the advancement of technology can and maybe will affect us as humans.
Yeah.
Our human bodies, not just our minds.
I'd say it's 3 knives out of 4.
Yeah, I give it 3 knives, I guess.
3
surgical knives.
3 scalpels.
Boom, boom, boom.
3 scalpels from the special Sark machine.
Yeah. This is a spoiler-esque free. I don't think we spoiled anything.
No, nothing you didn't see on the previews, really.
Spoiler-free podcast, and it's a little appetizer podcast. We have a very special podcast later on in the month, so make sure to join us for that. It's a film that's very near and dear to both of our hearts, and we're excited to bring that to you guys. Thank you so much, and stay tuned to the horror.
Surgery is the new sex.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.